The scent of burnt sugar and boiling rice was the smell of home. It clung to the walls of Nani's apartment, a third-floor walk-up that buzzed with the perpetual hum of city traffic and family. To 8-year-old Leela, it was the perfume of safety. Here, chaos was a symphony she understood. Her mother, Anya, chopping onions with fierce efficiency. Her teenage brother, Raj, glued to his phone, thumbs flying. And Nani herself, a small, bent woman with hands like bird bones, stirring a pot of dal with preternatural calm. It was Sunday, which meant mandatory family dinner, a tradition Anya enforced with the iron will of a CEO, which, in fact, she was. "The world spins too fast," she'd say, checking her smartwatch. "This is our anchor." Leela's anchor was currently a bowl of gajar ka halwa, the carrot dessert Nani was letting her help with, which mostly meant Leela stealing pinches of the fragrant ghee-soaked mixture. "Look at your hands, all sticky," Nani chided, her eyes crinkling, "like a little monkey." "A monkey who wants more," Leela giggled. The peace was shattered by the slam of the front door. Leela's father, Arjun, entered, his suit jacket slung over his shoulder, his face etched with a familiar, weary triumph. "Made it," he announced, as if he'd crossed a desert. Traffic on the bridge was a nightmare. He dropped a kiss on Anya's head, who swatted him away without breaking her chopping rhythm. "You're late again. Wash up, Raj, set the table, now." Raj groaned, a universal sound of teenage martyrdom, but pushed himself up. As he passed his father, he asked, "Dad, can I get the new Xbox controller? Mine's drifting." "We'll talk about quarterly allowances later," Arjun said, heading for the sink. Everything was a transaction, a negotiation. Success in their household was measured in promotions, grades, acquisitions. Love was shown through provision, the best schools, the safe car, the reliable Wi-Fi. Leela watched it all from her stool at the counter. She felt the love, but also its sharp edges, the pressure in Raj's slumped shoulders, the invisible weight on her father's, the way her mother's smile only fully reached her eyes when a deal was closed or a deadline was met. Nani, however, existed in a different economy. Hers was measured in pinches of cumin, in the warmth of a freshly rolled chapati, in the stories she told Leela of a village in Gujarat where the air smelled of dust and monsoon rain, not bus exhaust. "What you give to the universe, Beta," Nani would say, wiping Leela's sticky fingers with a damp cloth. "It comes back. Not always how you expect, but it comes back." A month later, the theory was put to the test in the most unlikely of places, Flight 227, Chicago O'Hare to New York LaGuardia. Anya had closed a major deal. As a reward, and because efficiency was a virtue, she'd booked them all first-class seats for a long weekend in the city. Raj was thrilled about the lie-flat seats and unlimited movies. Arjun appreciated the priority boarding. Leela was mesmerized by the shiny cutlery and the flight attendant who called her Miss. They settled in, a portrait of polished upward mobility. Anya was already tapping on her laptop. Arjun scanned the Financial Times. Raj had his noise-canceling headphones on. Leela pressed her nose to the window, watching the ground crew scurry like ants. Then the boarding continued. Through the curtain, Leela saw the economy line trudging past, a river of tired faces, stuffed backpacks, and the low murmur of patience. Near the end was a man. He moved slowly, with a deliberate, careful gait. He was older, with a close-cropped silver beard, and he wore a simple jacket, but it was his face that held Leela's attention. One side was smooth, weathered. The other was a landscape of taut, shiny skin, the ear a misshapen knot of scar tissue that trailed down his neck, vanishing under his collar. His hands, as he gripped the seatbacks for balance, were similarly mapped with old burns. He paused at our row, his eyes flickering over the spacious first-class cabin, with no envy, just a distant acknowledgement. Then he continued, disappearing into the throng. The plane was nearly full. The final passenger, a woman flustered and late, struggled with an overstuffed bag in the first-class cabin. A flight attendant made an announcement. "We have a slight oversell in economy. Is anyone in first class willing to volunteer their seat for a travel voucher? We'd need to move you to the back." An awkward silence hummed in the cabin. People glanced away, into their books, their screens. The calculus was clear. 2 hours of discomfort versus a voucher for future comfort. Then Leela watched her mother. Her fingers had stopped typing. She was staring straight ahead, but not at the seat back in front of her. She was seeing something else. Leela followed her gaze to the curtain through which the burned man had passed. Without a word, Anya unbuckled her seatbelt. It made a loud click in the quiet cabin. She stood up, smoothed her tailored trousers, and caught the flight attendant's eye. "I'll go," Anya said, her voice clear and firm. Arjun looked up, startled. "Anya, what are you doing? The voucher's probably only a few $100s. "It's not about the voucher," she said softly. "Mom, you're insane," Raj hissed, pulling one headphone off. "We're supposed to be on vacation. You worked for this." "Exactly," Anya said. She leaned over, kissed Leela's forehead, her scent of jasmine and office paper enveloping her for a second. "Hold my seat warm, monkey." And then she was gone, following the attendant through the curtain, leaving behind a bubble of stunned silence. The rest of the flight was tense. Arjun was quietly fuming, radiating a wounded pragmatism. Raj was mortified. Leela felt a confusing swell of pride and fear. She peeked back through the curtain once, catching a glimpse of her mother crammed into a middle seat, her head bent politely as a stranger talked her ear off. She looked small, but she also looked right. When they landed and reunited at baggage claim, the air was frosty. "You gave up a first-class seat?" Arjun stated as if she might have forgotten. "For a stranger." "It was a veteran," Anya said, her voice tired but steady. "I saw the insignia on his bag. His hands, he needed the space more than I did." "How do you know what he needed?" Raj challenged, the teenager's disdain masking a deeper confusion. "He didn't ask, you just did it. It's irrational." "It's called kindness, Raj," Anya shot back, a rare flash of heat in her eyes, a concept that seems to be getting MBA'd out of existence. The car ride to the hotel was silent, the familial bond stretched thin. The weekend was pleasant, but carried an undercurrent. Anya's act was the elephant in every room, at every museum exhibit and nice restaurant. "You're insane" had become a shorthand, a teasing yet pointed refrain from Arjun and Raj, a way to box the incident into the category of charming, illogical, maternal behavior. Leela, however, stored it away in her heart, next to Nani's stories. What you give to the universe, it comes back. It didn't come back for a long time. Seasons turned. Leela grew taller. Raj left for college. Arjun got a bigger office. Anya's company went public. Nani's hands grew more brittle, her stories more frequent, as if she were passing on a secret text. The first-class incident became family lore, trotted out occasionally at parties for a laugh. "Remember when Mom went socialist at 30,000 feet?" Raj would joke. Then the world contracted. A virus, a name on the news, then a lockdown. The relentless hustle ground to a terrifying halt. Arjun's markets plunged. Anya's corporate world shifted to tiny, flickering screens on Zoom, a poor substitute for the handshake deals she excelled at. Raj was sent home from college, a sullen ghost in his childhood bedroom, and Nani, most worryingly, became a statistic in the most vulnerable demographic. Fear, a cold, metallic taste, replaced the scent of burnt sugar. They isolated in their suburban home, the world now viewed through windows. Groceries were wiped down with clinical precision. Conversations were hushed about ICU beds and mortality rates. The resilience they'd built, financial, professional, felt like a sandcastle against a tidal wave. It was Nani, FaceTiming from her lonely apartment, who said, "We must feed people. In my village, during famine, we shared the last grain. It is the only way." Anya, desperate for action, seized on it. With the same ferocity she applied to board meetings, she organized. She called local farms, bought surplus. She turned their double garage, once a temple to their SUVs, into a makeshift kitchen and distribution center. It started small, meals for nurses at the local hospital. But Anya didn't just make spreadsheets. She put on an apron, and she cooked. She called Nani constantly, the phone propped on the counter. "Ma, how many cardamom pods for the biryani? How long do you need the roti dough?" Leela became her sous chef. They stood for hours, chopping mountains of vegetables, their fingers stained with turmeric and chili powder. The garage filled with the profound, soul-anchoring smells of cumin sizzling in oil, of ginger and garlic paste frying, of lentils bubbling. It was the scent of Nani's apartment, but amplified, unleashed into the world. Arjun and Raj were drafted as delivery drivers, grudgingly at first. Raj complained about the gas mileage on his car. Arjun worried about exposure, but they went. One afternoon, Leela was helping pack meals into insulated boxes. A car pulled up not to collect, but to drop off. A man got out, his movements careful, deliberate. He opened his trunk, which was filled with bags of rice and canned beans. "Heard you needed supplies," he said, his voice a gravelly rasp. As he turned, Leela saw his face, the taut, shiny skin, the misshapen ear, the burned vet from the airplane. Anya froze, a ladle of curry suspended in mid-air. Recognition dawned, slow and profound. "You," she breathed. He nodded, a small, knowing smile on his lips. Captain James Ridley, retired. He gestured to the bustling garage. "My VFW post got your list. We've been trying to support local efforts. Didn't realize I'd be returning a favor." Arjun, coming out with a load of boxes, stopped short. Raj peered over from the driver's seat of his car. Captain Ridley looked at Anya, his gaze direct and warm. "That day on the plane, it was the anniversary of the fire, the day I got these." He gestured vaguely at his face. "I was having a hard time. Being crammed back there, it was a long 2 hours, but knowing someone had chosen to take that seat, it changed the day. It changed more than that." He didn't elaborate. He didn't need to. He started unloading the supplies with a quiet efficiency, and then he stayed. He didn't cook, but he organized the chaos. He created a flawless delivery grid on a giant whiteboard, leveraging military precision. He managed the stream of volunteers with a calm, commanding authority. He became their logistical backbone. But his impact was more than operational. He ate a meal with them that first day, sitting on a cooler in the garage. He told no war stories. Instead, he talked about his garden, about the stubborn tomato plant that had survived the frost. He listened to Raj's fears about his derailed future and said, "Adaptation isn't plan B, son. It's the only plan there is." He showed Arjun how to fix the faulty hinge on the garage door, their heads bent together in practical, healing work. Captain Ridley became a fixture. He brought his network, other vets, their families. The operation grew. The garage could no longer contain it. They moved to a donated community hall. The meals, once dozens, became hundreds. The evening the local news did a story on them, they all gathered at Nani's apartment, now vaccinated and safe. They sat on the floor around the old coffee table, just like the old Sundays. The segment showed the bustling kitchen, the lines of cars receiving meals. It showed Anya, her hair in a messy bun, explaining the operation with fiery passion. It showed Leela carefully labeling containers. It showed Arjun and Raj loading cars, their faces no longer tight with worry, but relaxed in purpose. And it showed Captain Ridley pointing at his whiteboard, a gentle giant orchestrating a symphony of care. The reporter ended with, "In a time of profound distance, this family and their unexpected partner have built a bridge made entirely of shared meals and small kindnesses." The TV clicked off. The room was quiet, filled only with the echo of the city and the scent of Nani's chai. Arjun looked at Anya, his eyes shiny. "I called you insane," he said, his voice thick. "That day on the plane. I'm so sorry." Anya took his hand. "We were all a little insane, in different ways." Raj cleared his throat. "Captain Ridley said something to me last week. He said, The military teaches you that the unit is only as strong as its most vulnerable member. He said what Mom did, she saw the vulnerable member on that plane. Not just him, but the part in all of us that needs a little more room sometimes. He shrugged, uncomfortable with his own eloquence. It wasn't insane, it was strategic compassion. Leela leaned against Nani, who stroked her hair. "See, beta?" Nani whispered, her voice a dry leaf of sound. "It comes back." But it wasn't a transaction. That was the thing Leela understood now at 13 that she hadn't at 8. It wasn't a seat for a truckload of supplies. It was a pebble dropped in a still pond. Anya's single, quiet act of seeing someone, of honoring his invisible burden, had sent out a ripple. That ripple had found its way back, not to repay her, but to connect her, to connect all of them to a wider network of care they hadn't known existed. It had shown them their own strength, not as individuals, but as a unit. It had given Raj direction, Arjun humility, and Anya a purpose that no corporate merger could ever match. It had woven a burned veteran into the fabric of their family, adding his resilience to theirs. It had, Leela realized, made them all captains of their own garage, of their own hearts. The SUVs had come, yes, but more importantly, the understanding had arrived. That belonging isn't just about sharing a name or a last name, but about sharing a burden. That resilience isn't about never falling, but who helps you up and who you help up in turn. That connection is built not in the grand, sweeping moments, but in the everyday, in the shared meal, in the wiped-down grocery, in the seat given up, in the story told to a child with sticky fingers, whispering of a universe that listens and answers in the language of kindness.